Have you ever really stopped to think about what trauma does to us? I mean, on a physical, biological level. It's not just a bad memory, right? It's way deeper than that. Today, we're going to get into the science of how these experiences can literally change our nervous system. And then we'll look at a really innovative treatment that's trying to hit the reset button. Okay, let's dive in. This quote right here, it absolutely nails it. That phrase, biological imprint, that's the whole story. This isn't just something that's all in your head. Nope. It's a physical change. Trauma literally leaves a footprint on our body's wiring, and that changes the way everything works from then on. Okay, so the easiest way to get your head around this is to picture your nervous system as the super advanced alarm system for your house. It's there to protect you. But imagine after a break-in, the alarm just gets stuck. It's blaring 24/7, seeing threats everywhere, even when you're totally safe. That, right there, is what we're talking about. So let's take a closer look at how that alarm system is supposed to work when there's a real threat. These are our body's go-to survival modes, and they are completely automatic. Now, the thing you've got to remember is that you don't choose these. Nobody thinks, I think I'll fight now. It's an instant, deep brain reaction. Whether your body floods with adrenaline to fight back, gets ready to run for its life, or just completely freezes up to play dead, it's all your body's brilliant, ancient wiring doing whatever it can to keep you alive. So what happens when the danger is long gone, but the alarm system never gets the memo to shut off? Well, that's when we start to see these long-term ripple effects. These lasting biological changes start to set in. And this leads us to something called post-traumatic stress injury, or PTSI. Now, listen to that word, injury, not disorder. This is such a huge shift in thinking. It tells us that the brain has suffered a real physical injury, just like you'd injure your arm. And what do we know about injuries? They can be treated, they can heal. So, what does it actually feel like to live with this alarm system stuck on high? Well, it looks a lot like this. The nightmares, the panic, jumping at every little sound, avoiding places that remind you of what happened. These aren't just random symptoms. They are the direct logical result of a nervous system that's still stuck in survival mode. So how in the world does a brain get stuck like this? The answer is this incredible and kind of double-edged concept called neuroplasticity. It's the brain's superpower, its ability to literally change its own wiring based on what we experience. It's how we learn anything new. But it's also how trauma can carve these deep, super protective pathways into our brain. And here's exactly how trauma hijacks that superpower. Your amygdala, that's your brain's little fear detector, it basically gets a major upgrade, becoming hyper-aware of any potential danger. At the same time, the parts of your brain that are supposed to calm things down, the "it's okay, we're safe" centers, they get quieter. And get this, the actual nerve fibers can grow and become more sensitive, making that high alert state even stronger. Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all. If our brains are so amazingly plastic that they can be rewired by trauma to protect us, well, can we use that same plasticity to rewire it back? Can we reset that alarm? And the answer, it seems, is a pretty resounding yes. So let's talk about a treatment that goes right to the biological source of the injury. It's called the dual sympathetic reset, or DSR-SGB. All right, so the heart of this treatment is something called a stellate ganglion block, or SGB. I want you to think of it like a Control-Alt-Delete for your nervous system. Doctors find this one specific bundle of nerves in the neck. It's like the main circuit breaker for that alarm system. And by using a local anesthetic, kind of like what you get at the dentist, they can quiet down those overactive signals and give the whole system a chance to reboot to its factory settings. Now, here's where it gets really cool. The original SGB procedure was already pretty good. It targeted one spot and had a decent success rate. But then they figured out that if they targeted two specific areas in that nerve bundle, that's the dual reset part, they could get a much better, more complete reset. And just look at the difference that little change made. The success rate jumped way up. And you might be thinking this sounds like some big, complicated surgery, but it's really not. The whole thing is done in less than 20 minutes. Just 2 very precise injections into that nerve bundle, and that's it. It helps calm down the flood of stress hormones and gives those overactive nerve patterns a chance to finally stand down. Okay, I know what you're thinking. That all sounds great, but does it actually work? Well, the proof is in the pudding, right? let's look at the data, because the outcomes here are pretty incredible. Let's just start with this one huge number, 81%. That's the percentage of people who get this specific dual target treatment and report significant relief from their symptoms. Think about that. For a condition that can make people feel so stuck, this means that more than 4 out of 5 people walk away feeling fundamentally better. That is a total game changer. And when we dig into what that relief actually looks like, wow. The core PTSI symptoms, we're talking flashbacks, being on high alert all the time, they drop by an average of 75%. That constant background hum of anxiety, cut in half. And depression sees a nearly 70% reduction. This is not about just coping better, this is about truly getting your life back. And this isn't some fringe idea either. The folks on the front lines, the mental health professionals, are getting on board in a big way. A whopping 95% of providers who know about this procedure now recommend it for trauma-related injuries. When you see that level of agreement from the experts, you know something important is happening. So if you take one thing away from our whole conversation today, let it be this. Trauma creates a real biological injury. It leaves a physical mark. But just like any other injury, that means it can be treated. Healing isn't just a nice idea, it's a real physiological possibility. And that leaves us with this final, really hopeful thought. We've seen how the brain's amazing ability to change, its neuroplasticity, is what allows trauma to wire it for survival. But that very same power is the key to our healing. So the real question becomes, if the brain is that good at wiring itself for danger, just imagine its full untapped potential to rewire itself for peace.